In the United States, there is a debate over whether or not gun laws should be stronger. Those who are against strengthening gun laws tend to argue that doing so would be unconstitutional, but there are others on the same side who think that gun control simply wouldn't work. While they do argue that it shouldn't be done, they also argue that it might as well not be done, because it's not going to reduce gun violence. And if they were asked, why is gun control so futile, they might answer, because criminals don't follow the law.
It undermines the Second Amendment, and it will do nothing to keep people safe. It will do nothing to prevent gun violence and gun crimes in America because criminals don't follow the law.
The reason why this answer is not very helpful is because you could say this about any law. Traffic laws, drug laws, harassment laws, copyright laws. These, as well as pretty much every other law, have been at some point intentionally broken. Thankfully, this argument only seems to surface when it comes to gun control, because if we employed this logic universally and didn't bother passing any laws which we anticipated being broken, we'd find ourselves in a bit of a paradox. A law which nobody breaks has no purpose. So if we only pass the laws which we didn't expect people to break, that would effectively negate the very idea of having laws in the first place. Obviously, criminals do not follow the law. That's not an excuse to quit while we're ahead. And notice, what this answer allows the individual who uses it to do is avoid addressing any specifics of the gun control being proposed. You would expect someone who is critical of a particular law to have something to say about what's in it. But just saying criminals don't follow the law, so why bother, allows them to get away with not even reading it. So not only is this a profoundly cynical thing to say, it's also intellectually negligent. One might consider it somewhat of a surrender of one's mental firearms, you might say. Look, the reason why this debate is alive and well is because there are good arguments on both sides, but the legal equivalent of the sky is blue is not one of them. So unless you enjoy shooting a perfectly worthy debate dead on arrival, produce a better answer to this question. And that means, if you can help it, steering clear of the popular catchphrase, if guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. While this statement does appear to be logically consistent, it's only useful if the person you're arguing with is advocating for an outright ban on all guns. Hey, by all means, it is a good answer to the question, why is gun prohibition so futile? But if the person you're arguing with doesn't want that, if, for instance, they're only in favor of background checks, then this answer is not appropriate either. Take that into consideration. If it doesn't address the other person's argument, it's not a worthy counterargument.
Barack Obama is obsessed with undermining the Second Amendment.
What?
He's been doing this forever.
What?
You're now not only going to burden them with having to undergo the background check, that's one thing.
What?
If they get it wrong, they're facing imprisonment.
Yes!
I mean, this is a very significant executive action that he's taken. It's detrimental. It undermines the Second Amendment.
What?
This president is obsessed with undermining the Constitution in general, but the Second Amendment in particular.
He's black.
He's going to do nothing to prevent violence or crimes.
What?
There's just one more way to make it harder for law-abiding people to buy weapons or to protect their families.
No!
It will do nothing to prevent gun violence and gun crimes in America because criminals don't follow the law.